the leading ingredient of everything else. But yeah, that's my journey of the NFTs, and thank you guys for being here.
Thank you.
Hey guys, I'm Kate Kansas. I'm most well known for my work with Ultra Music Festival. I'm the entertainment director, so I develop performers and travel the world with the festival. I got into the blockchain space. I'm actually more of a blockchainer as a whole than NFTs specifically. A few years ago on my travels, and started really immersing myself in the local community. I've gone to tons of conventions when no one was there because Bitcoin was at 3,000 and no one cared. And then I started working at the Blockchain Center doing mass adoption education, which is just very basic education and helping people understand blockchain, how to set up a wallet, why you have a wallet, why you have private keys, all of those like really simple things. So if you have any questions afterwards specifically, I know, not so simple, but please feel free to ask me because I'm happy to talk about really basic, and never ever feel dumb or shy to ask any questions about anything, because the best way to get involved is just to start, and the best way to start is to ask questions.
Can you guys hear me through this? Have I corrected? All right, I'm not as brave. Hey guys, I'm Kerry. So my background is art design and technology. I got into the blockchain scene 2018, and I really like set off on a mission to blend traditional art, the whole traditional art world, with emerging technology. And so yeah, so I've just been on that path. I was involved with the Blockchain Center as well. And yeah, so who's an artist here actually? I want to know. Raise your hand if you're an artist. Yeah, okay. I can't, yeah, okay. So I'm developing a platform to help artists, and that's what I've been on this path, and happy to talk to anybody, any artist, anybody. I'm here.
Awesome. So there you have it, guys. This is gonna be your panel for tonight. You know, these people have dedicated their lives and have dedicated, their being to be able to, be a part of this new and exciting technology that's only in its infancy stage. So I'm pretty sure everybody's wondering, because the main thing that we have to start is, what is the blockchain? You get me? What is the blockchain? Why is it important? And why is it changing? Why is it revolutionizing everything? Why are the banks and the government scared of it? Get me? So, Katie, please, if you want to start us off.
Sure. So blockchain, it's a technology that was emerged around 2010. Although the idea had actually been around much longer than that. It just didn't have a name or a quote-unquote creator. And blockchain is basically a digital ledger. Kind of like a physical ledger where you would write down information. It might have been about financial information. You would transfer that with a piece of paper from one place to another. Now you have the blockchain, in which you can do this digitally, which ensures security. It's much harder to hack than, let's say, stealing a piece of paper that is being transported by a human. So the blockchain is actually as literal as it sounds. It's blocks of information that travel along a chain that are connected with a bunch of computers, and there are always multiple computers around the world that are validating this information. So you can always, most of the time, be rest assured that your information is traveling safely. A lot of people tie Bitcoin with the blockchain, or think that Bitcoin is the only blockchain. It is a blockchain, but there are many blockchains that are being created, especially now. And the most necessary for NFTs is Ethereum, which Bitcoin and Ethereum are different blockchains. They have different purposes, but both very important in the way that they are used, and especially for this space, the Ethereum blockchain is extremely important. So digital ledger, that's what the blockchain is.
Awesome. And Kerry, do you have any more to fill in on that?
Yeah, I can go off of that. So Ethereum is this programmable smart contract technology. So you can link physical digital items into a token format. And so this is where the whole art on a blockchain NFT scene came about, was around 2018, 2017, CryptoKitties, CryptoPunks before that. And then now there's some people coming out of the woodworks because now that they see that this technology and the scene is booming. Mooncats just came out and were like, we were first, and then somebody else just came out and was like, no, I was doing something in 2014, I was first. So it's becoming a battle for like who was first, which is really funny. And so NFTs. Has anybody bought an NFT here? 2 people, that's it? You guys in the back? NFTs?
All right.
Yeah, okay. So this is a innovative technology for artists. So basically you can use an NFT as a proof of ownership. You can have history of ownership, who owned that piece. You can use it as a certificate of authenticity. And then most importantly, you can program resale royalties. So if I buy something and I sell it, the original creator will get a percentage of the sale, right? So that's programmed in, it's gonna happen automatically. And any artist here that has worked with a gallery, I'm not talking about this gallery, you'll know that it's really hard to like get your money, right? So you do shows and then you have the work up and you sell it and it's 50-50 split and you're like, awesome, I sold out my show. And they're like, yeah, but we're gonna give you the money in like 30 days, right? And you're like, what the fuck? So then 30 days, you gotta come back and you're like, where's my money? And they're like, oh, you gotta come back tomorrow. I don't have the checkbook, I don't have this. So it was like, it's very cumbersome and it's really hard to be an artist, you know? You're putting a lot of money into buying stuff. You're doing these shows, and everybody here knows, like as an artist, you spend a lot of money, right? So you're like putting a lot of money into it, and you're doing these shows, and then what? So you have this information, you did a show, you have an exhibition history, you have a CV in a paper format. So all of this is very like antiquated, this whole system, the whole art market, it's an unregulated market, and the whole entire art market is about to be disrupted. The gallerists are freaking out. The museums are freaking out, like everybody's freaking out. And so for artists, this is a really important part because we have control over a lot right now. And if you play it right, you could basically just be your own gallerist. You can be your own agent, you can be your own everything if you choose to. And some people do not, so they do want to work with a gallery, and if they specialize in NFTs, great. But you have galleries that are not specializing in NFTs that are trying to get into the scene, and it's a really, really strange time. So now it's like this like percentage and what are you gonna do? And the thing is that the technology is just changing. So there's just improvements happening, and everybody's talking about ecological problems. And that stems from this whole thing called mining, which I really don't want to get into, but it's just running computers 24/7. So it's not great. So now we're going to change to a proof of stake, which is not going to be running computers all the time. It's just going to be validators, just validating these transactions. And everybody's just agreeing to it as a consensus. So the community's growing and getting bigger, and there's just more consensus, there's more community. And the fact that all these people are here right now is like crazy to me, because I was trying to talk about this to people like even last year, and everybody was like, what the fuck are you talking about? And I was like, no, you guys have to understand this technology. And they're like, no man, I just want to paint, you know? And I'm like, no, but you're not getting it. So now people are getting it. So now you can take your paintings, you can document it, it'll be recorded on the blockchain, it's going to be there forever. And then, you know, you can resell stuff now. I mean, this was only happening for blue chip artists. Like if you were Damien Hirst, you were getting resale royalties. If you were showing in a regular gallery, and I'm saying this because I had a gallery, so I'm talking from experience, you know, and it's hard to run a gallery too. You're paying rent, you know, so there's just so much that's going on. And NFT, like the whole scene, the term NFT, which is non-fungible token, just meaning that it's unique. And there are variations in that. You can have additions within that. You can have a one-off. There's so many things that are happening. And I'm trying to be very basic about this. So I hope this isn't like too crazy for people, but
And don't worry, guys. We're gonna have a Q&A in the last 20 minutes of the segment. So
Yeah.
don't worry about it. You guys have plenty of questions, but we're gonna get to that. But I definitely think we covered a huge amount for now. So I think let's look at an artist perspective, right? So Gigi, you just recently sold your first set of NFTs through Nifty Gateway. So please let everybody know how the experience was, and you know, you as an artist, how did it change your perspective on the world and just everything in general, how this whole system is set up?
Sure, I think it's important to understand that as an artist, this is just a new medium that we're working with. This is not, paintings are not going away. None of the other stuff murals are not going away. It's just another medium to utilize that we can funnel our ideas through. That's it. But for me, it was very interesting. About 3 years ago, I was already thinking about concepts that had to do with digital formats or digital. The ideas themselves perform better as digital than if I were to get those ideas that I had been drawing on Illustrator and putting them on a canvas. Conceptually, they work better. So it was interesting to me that a year ago, I hear about NFTs and I'm like, what the hell is going on here? This is perfect for these ideas, but then it's not perfect for these ideas. So you have to understand, from an artist's perspective, it was interesting to start thinking about it as like a new brush, a new tool that I could use to create different concepts.
Which is awesome because, so those who don't know, so inside is actually the entire set stitched together, and that's ultimately the NFT that was made. And basically you see the Warhol fight, and like Gigi said, he can actually illustrate it now, and he brought that concept to life. At the end of the day, we never knew who would actually win, but I think Gigi gave us that answer, and ultimately the two it comes down to the draw, and they're both greats at the end of the day.
Yeah. So for whoever has not seen the collection or has no idea what Ivan is talking about, the collection that I presented in February was focused on Andy Warhol, or inspired by Andy Warhol and Basquiat, which are two of the great artists of art history. And for me, it was important that this initial drop focused or pointed at different things, art history. It related to some of the old work that I was doing, and at the same time, it was innovative enough so that it connected with the technology and the art that's currently living in this space. So throughout the series, you see Andy Warhol and Basquiat in a very simple boxing match. There's 7 rounds. Each round, it's if you count each punch, it'll go to one of the artists, and on the 7th round, like Ivan said, they knock each other out, which to me symbolized the impact that both of them have had in art history, and how they've both inspired me, but at the same time they've both been a great inspiration for other people. So in essence, they both won.
Beautiful. Yeah. So I want to know, with your experience on being on Nifty Gateway, how has that been like? I mean, as far as using the service and your experience as an artist, as far as the transactions and how you're getting paid, and all those little small details.
For sure. So there's different platforms. One of them is Nifty Gateway, which is the one that I'm working with. And I also have to point out that it's not just Nifty Gateway that I'm working with. There's also a gallery in LA that represents me. And this gallery sort of introduced my work to Nifty Gateway. So I think it's important to point it out because other artists might be thinking, how much percentage do they take from you? How is it similar or different from the traditional art market? So far the experience working with Nifty Gateway has been great. A lot of the questions that artists have in terms of the gas fees, how do you set up a wallet, how do you start, how do people buy your art? Nifty Gateway takes care of all that, and it also has the ability for people to buy with credit cards, so fiat or Ethereum as well. So From someone that I like to focus on the art. If I don't have to focus on the business end of things, and I know that the people that I'm working with I can trust, then that I like that matchup. I like to be able to work with people that can take on that role if they're doing a good job at it.
And that's awesome, because at the end of the day, that's the beautiful thing about the space. It's open and vast, and Nifty Gateway, it tends to have a more curative aspect to it versus like the NFT that I released yesterday was through OpenSea, because I felt that it would only be right, me being a moderator on this stage, I had to completely dive in and let me see how it feels to drop an NFT. Let me see how minting feels like. Let me understand the gas fees. Let me understand the smart contract. And it was quite the experience, and I'm pretty sure every other platform is different, but it's always nice to see that from beginning to end, and but getting to that, getting now to the financial aspect, the investors' perspective. Dunny over here, please let us know what, as a collector, what brought you to it, why the digital space, and why do you believe in it?
So, like I said, I was already collecting regular traditional art, and I was like toy collectibles as well, and I had this artist Gondek. He had a vinyl figure. It was $350 for the vinyl, real life figure that sits in my living room. And he released the same thing as an NFT. And I'm just like, I saw him posting about it on Instagram, and I'm like, what's going on here? People are paying for the 3D image on their screen, and they're paying more than I paid for the actual toy. So initially I looked at it as an opportunity. I can speculate and I can make money on this. People are paying for it. I'm pretty good at using a computer. I can sit there, buy this, and resell it. And I came into it with that mindset, and then I just got out of hand, and I just started buying and couldn't stop. But which is good, but then you dive into it and you see that this is like such a new thing for art, and the other side of it is that people have been stuck at home for the last year because of COVID, and they've been more attached to their computers and phones than they ever have, and this is just this is a new way to express yourself. This is a part of your digital identity. You can, in my head, the possibilities are endless with what you can do with NFTs, and it extends beyond art. And I just think there's so much you can do with it. It's never ending.
It's a beautiful thing, right? Because there's so many ways you can display, your NFT, and what I've learned is that there's many formats. We have projectors, we have TV screens. You can set up an entire gallery within your home. And if you think, I want you to think about this for a second, right? And you as a collector, you're able to switch out your pieces basically on the click of a button, right?
Yeah, exactly. So as of right now, I only have one display for showing the images. My walls at home are fully covered in art. So at a certain point, I have art that I can't even hang up, and I'm like, and it's frustrating because sometimes you want to display it, but then it's like, do I want to pay to frame this? Am I even going to put it up? Where am I going to store it? It's a whole bunch of issues. But now with the display, I can put up a display, and I can have the NFTs that I own rotate on the display, and I can have just a changing gallery at home. And if I feel like displaying one artist or one collection or setting a certain mood, I could just go on the app in my phone and change it. To be honest though, the displays as of right now, it's not very mature and adapted to the space. They're kind of generic displays. They're not really the best quality so far, but I do think there's a lot of people coming into the space. They're going to fix it and have really nice displays specifically for NFTs.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And so, now that we're talking about the displays of NFTs and all that, do you guys think this will allow once cities and big officials, they start seeing the power of it, or are we going to start seeing NFTs in the public space? Like as far as like the public, cities buying to display NFTs as a commission, as a public art commission? So
we're actually very lucky. We're actually very lucky to be in Miami because the city is very bullish on crypto as a space completely. And actually next Monday, they're starting to display CryptoPunks on billboards all across Miami.
Wow, that's
and bus
amazing.
Stations.
So save art space, and so All right. So, hello? Here? All right. Sorry about that. So, no, that's amazing. I didn't think that CryptoPunks would make it that far. And it's also amazing because, you know, so this exchange called Bitcoin FTX just bought the naming rights to the AAA. So no longer the American Airlines Arena will be the American Airlines Arena. It will now be the FTX Arena, correct? So it goes to show you that, as not too many people here know this, but Miami is becoming the capital of cryptocurrency for the world. So this is, you know, we are at the epicenter of this this movement, you know? And so, you know, now I want to go past the art, correct? Because I know people are talking about ecological concerns and, you know, the gas fees and all that. And Kerry or Katie, please let us know how are we trying to fix that?
Well, yeah, for those that you don't know, it does require a lot of energy to mine, and mining and the environmental effects that mining is taking on is a hot topic in the blockchain space. Yeah, literally a hot topic. So a lot of people ask, is there any physical aspect to the blockchain? And you know, as I said before, it's a digital ledger, so it is all digital, but it still does require a physical mining machine to mine the blocks. And that physical mining machine is very small, not very big, but imagine a whole room of them. And there are a lot of these like facilities. There's a lot that exist in China, and they're huge, and there are tons of little mining equipment, and they're causing a lot of heat and a lot of power, and they're pulling a lot of resources. So this is an issue, and but I think that you know, as the technology continues to go on, we will find a way to fix it. I know there are some things in the works, and that we will continue. And a gas fee is something that you actually pay, which is another issue that a buyer might run into, or even the artist runs into, because someone has to pay for that, and especially up front. So you could be an artist just getting a start, wanting to release your first NFT, and all of a sudden you have this huge gas fee, and you don't understand. But it still does cost money to do everything, and someone is still mining for you. Would you like to take that on about the new technology?
Yes, I'll take it. Okay, so yeah, that was good though. So yeah, the Ethereum, Bitcoin is a proof of work blockchain, so the computers are running, and then so Ethereum is also a proof of work, but now it's transitioning into proof of stake, which I had mentioned before. So there's a new EIP, which is an Ethereum improvement proposal coming up called the 1559, and it's going to be switching over into a different type of protocol. So all of that energy that's running, and actually the GPUs and the ASIC mining equipment is being used, that gamers and people that are doing video production can't even buy equipment anymore, because all of these mining farms are consuming all of the equipment and they're consuming energy. So that's where the ecological concern is. It's actually the mining of the blockchain. They're verifying transactions, and then now it's going to be moving to a validation process. So that's what it is.
And I from what I heard, and correct me if I'm wrong, I heard that it's going to bring down the gas fees to almost 99% less.
So the gas fees are actually taxes that are going to the miners. So this is their reward. So they're mining. So Bitcoin is mined, and then the Bitcoin it's a reward. So that's how they're put into circulation. That's where they come from. So, yes.
That's awesome. That's awesome, guys. So as you see, yes, like everything in life, it's almost like a car back in the day, right? Before catalytic converters existed, it caused harm to the environment, But when we think of many other things that we use nowadays,
AC is the worst.
Yeah.
Right there. That's the worst.
And we're gonna figure that out soon. But we live in Miami, and at the moment
we're not getting rid of an AC.
We're gonna rely on ACs for now, but going back to that, so that's what I'm saying. We're still at the beginning, and the technology is just little by little getting better, and we are going towards a greener space, especially the fact that, you know, you have intellectuals, scientists, and artists behind this entire movement. And actually, talking about that, a lot of artists are actually contributing portions of their sales to charities and initiatives to basically help that cause. Like, didn't people just do that? He completely dropped an NFT, and almost all the profits went to climate change.
Is it important? I think it's important to point out that the NFT technology itself is not a big reason of the ecological impact. It's the mining of Ethereum, of this blockchain, that's causing it. So for artists that have a strong stand for, you know, ecological support, I think that, you know, don't steer away from the technology because of what's being said right now. I think it's important to understand that, you know, the blockchain is the main issue. The NFT technology itself, what, you know, the tool that as creatives are going to use is not necessarily the problem.
Yes, it's the NFT itself is not an issue, but remember, to process anything on a blockchain, you still require a physical mining.
On a proof of work. Oh yeah, okay, so yeah, ecological issues. I had posted something because this is a huge thing that people don't understand, that art. Yeah, you got it? Got it? Okay. So art fairs, the amount of energy and carbon that's put into the atmosphere from shipping artwork all over the world is insane. The only thing is, like, we have this that we can actually measure, so somebody can say, hey, look, this is where this output came from, and I can tell that there's energy that's running Argentina that's the same. But we don't have that comparison for art, and the cost to build canvases for paints and the lead that goes into it. So, like, if that's the concern, it's not, you shouldn't let that be a concern to get into NFTs at all, because everything's changing, and there are other blockchains out there. If anybody knows Top Shot is on the Flow blockchain. It's completely proof of stake, completely different. So Wax blockchain, that's where you can find those garbage pail kids. So there's a lot of collectibles coming out, and they're on the proof of stake, which is totally cool. And yeah, so that's just a concern. And I think that it's really important to understand that and see that comparison, because the real traditional art world is also a problem.
Now, you know, so I want to kind of go a little bit back, right? Because I want to basically, because I didn't cover how do we store these NFTs. You get me? And I wanted to go into kind of like the wallets and basically explain that. You get me? Like the security behind the wallets, and yeah.
Yeah, so we'll do some basic. You do need a wallet to be able to hold either an NFT or a cryptocurrency. So how many people own cryptocurrency in this room? Good. Congratulations, guys. Welcome to the new world. For those of you that don't own any cryptocurrency, it's totally okay. You're not too late. Bitcoin's not too expensive. It doesn't matter. Just buy it. If you don't know how to buy it, the best way is Cash App. Cash App is a super easy way to buy Bitcoin. You don't even have to have a KYC. It's just your phone number. Very easy. And you can continue to go on from there. Again, I'm happy to answer any questions later. But a wallet is very important to have. A lot of people use MetaMask. I know this is a very familiar wallet with those that are collecting NFTs or swapping NFTs or anything to do with tokens. So you can look up MetaMask. It's the little fox if you need to see the app on your phone. It's really easy. It does require KYC, but that's good. And if you want to know the most important thing about your wallet is if you don't know your keys, then you don't hold the coins. And if you don't have a wallet that doesn't require keys, it's a possibility that you also will lose those coins. So not your keys, not your coins.
Especially the guy that had, what was it, he had 11 Bitcoins not too long ago? Like the guy had 11 Bitcoins and he lost his keys and he was just like, he had to come to terms with it, and you see in his face, he just died.
I think
You're
this
like,
is going to be
but, you know.
a great like sci-fi movie in the future. There's going to be all these like cold storage wallets that are like scattered throughout, like Mad Max thing, to find all these wallets with these lost Bitcoins. I mean, it's possible. It could happen. But to set up a wallet, just make sure, guys, that you always know your keys and that you keep them very safe, because those coins are important. And once you start buying them, and you want to collect them.
And so I want to get now into kind of like, you know, as far as history of art and NFTs, where are we in that? You know, where are we in that aspect? We're in cave paintings. Wow.
Yeah.
That's a bold term. I like that.
Right, and so something that you mentioned as far as the input from artists into giving percentages to different charities and stuff like that. The cool thing about the technology is that it allows you to, it's a smart contract. So you program your NFT, your piece of artwork, however you want. So my friend Wisby, he did an entire series that was focused on or inspired by different animals that are in danger of extinction. If I'm
you're right.
And then so each one of these pieces was inspired by a different animal, and the part of the royalties went to an organization that supports animals in danger of extinction.
That's amazing.
So there's just whatever you support as an artist, you can now contribute not only conceptually but also financially with the sales of your pieces.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And now, Dunny, so I want to know, right? Like how, you know, now that we see how the artist is being sold and all that, how do you know what to buy now? You know, like how, as an investor and as a collector of the art, how do you know which pieces are the right ones to invest in, and which are the ones that what do you look for in a piece when you're trying to get art?
Well, 2 months ago, as the whole space was blowing up, you could literally close your eyes, click on something, and then it's double the next day. But right now, because of that happening 2 months ago, it's no longer the case, and the market is becoming extremely saturated with everyone trying to make a dollar.
And would you say celebrities are like
celebrities
destroying
in my opinion, celebrities are ruining the space, because they've never released art like in this medium, and I don't know why they think they can just come out one day and say, hey, give me $2,000 for this edition of 200, and people are buying it. But in my opinion, those things are not good for the space. They're not good for the longevity of the space.
Yeah. This hype piece, basically.
Yeah, essentially. But as far as compared to traditional art, you also have to realize that a lot of the people that are buying the NFTs, they're crypto native, so to say. So they come from crypto backgrounds. They don't think about the price in terms of dollars. They think about the price in terms of Ethereum. So you have to think about what those people are looking for, because those are ultimately the ones that are active in this space. They're the ones that are not going to be, maybe they eventually participate in buying the celebrity drops, but as the dust settles, they're not going to be participating in buying those. They're going to be buying the things that appeal to the crypto natives. And the things that appeal to the crypto natives are going to be the artists that are taking advantage of the blockchain and what you can do with the blockchain. And for example, Beeple, when he first went on Nifty, his first auction that he put up there was which ended for 66,000, was a picture of Trump and Biden fighting.
Yeah. And
the picture was, after the election, it changed to something else which reflected the results of the election. You can't really do that with traditional art, but here it's like living art, where the artist can add on to the art after it's been put out there. So the crypto native people love seeing this, where you're doing something that it's taking advantage of the blockchain. It's doing something innovative. It's doing something new. Yeah. And there's other things you can do. You can gamify the experience of buying the art. Like with Gabriel's drop on Nifty Gateway, what he did was, if you collect all 7 of the rounds to the fight, then he gives you a physical canvas.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And that's a beautiful thing, guys. And I just want everybody to know, this doesn't apply only to the visual arts. There's a huge, so the biggest use case scenario is actually gaming. Gaming is probably the biggest usage of NFTs. You get me? Because there's skins on like Fortnite and Call of Duty, and and also on on a Decentraland, which is basically like a world where you can actually live in the metaverse. But we'll go into that in a few. You know. No, I know, but what I mean is just like assets like that. You give me the NFT, just that usage, you know. But if you want to do just a quick little breakdown of that, so just in case I confused the people, anybody wants to chime in on the assets.
Yeah. The interesting thing about that, about the gaming assets, is that, so Fortnite, which everybody knows Fortnite, so you have those skins and everybody's buying into those skins. It's only in that game that it works. So now there's games that are decentralized that you can move your assets around. So you can go in and out of games with them and move them around, trade them. And then what he was talking about with the Beeple work, which I think is really, really fascinating, is generative work. So generative work is triggered by events. So he triggered that event, so if somebody won, it would change to a certain thing. I could create a movie, a film, and if it rains tomorrow, the screen, it'll start raining. Because I can set it up to the weather app, and it's going to tell me that it's raining here, and then on the screen, it's going to start raining. So you can trigger those things, and this was not really, I mean, you can do generative work, but not in this type of capacity, and then also sell it, and then trade it, and it's just, and you can also earn with NFTs, which is a security, so do your own research, but you can fractionalize it, you can earn off of it, but you're gonna have to be paying, so.
And, you know, something that I really like about this space is that, you know, the more like I go on Clubhouse and I go and research videos on people that are into this, you know, it seems to me like it's almost like it really is about community, and like, you know, people want to see that you care about the technology, right? At the end of the day, like, you're buying the artist more than you're buying the art. Is that correct?
Yes, I mean, I spoke about that a little bit this morning actually, and I thought that this is something very cool about NFTs. And although I understand why, you know, a famous person putting out an NFT might disrupt the art space, I, as someone that's not a traditional artist, but more of a designer, and I still consider myself an artist, but my work is physical, it's in dance, and it's in clothing, and so I could still tokenize that. And if I had a large following, I would be able to drop an NFT, whether it was a physical costume or a digital that was sold for Decentraland or whatever other gaming platform. You know, it's an interesting thing that if you have a following, you are now able to create a sustainable income for yourself by utilizing the blockchain and finally having full control of that, you know, using the smart contracts to talk about the situations that you want, if this, then that, and how many royalties if it's resold, and all of that stuff is new, and it really, it gives someone that's been building a following and working a lot on utilizing social media and that technology to then combine the blockchain technology and be able to create a sustainable, you know, income and universe for themselves, which I think is fabulous. And NFTs, you know, don't just focus on the fact that it is for art. I mean, and we're sitting here because we're at an art gallery and we're speaking with artists and an art collector. But an NFT can be really anything. Here we have the crypto mansion, and they tokenize the mansion, and you can buy Juju tokens. You can swap tokens, and you know, with that you can get access to exclusive events and things like that. So you can really tokenize almost anything. So if you're interested, and maybe you're not an artist, but you have a creative mind and something unique that you think might be able to be tokenized and then sold or auctioned off, or whatever, the membership, you know, now they're doing sports teams. Sports teams are tokenizing themselves, and their fans that are buying into the tokens are able to have access to exclusive events or meet and greets or whatever it is that they're giving away. I mean, Cristiano Ronaldo just now became one of the largest crypto earners because they tokenized the team. So it's just the NFT space goes beyond art. So
it's limitless.
It's limitless. So don't be limited by this talk, and you know, use your imagination and utilize the blockchain, and you'll really have respect within the space. And I think that's how you really put out a successful NFT.
Yeah, we're out here. We're exploring Saturn right now. You know, we're going beyond Mars. We're checking out what Saturn's got. You know, go ahead.
No. Go ahead. Next question. I didn't have.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're ready to go. So Gigi, so when you decided to go with the experience, basically having to buy the seven tokens in order to get the one painting, what brought you to that idea?
This is where the gallery came in as with strategic help.
Mm.
They understood the art market. I studied the art market for years before, and from when I say study, I read tons of books, and I was reading articles all the time. I wanted to understand the world that I was living in professionally, and then one of the things that's extremely important for a success of a collection, of an exhibition, is that the gallerist, the person that's strategically positioning the body of work on the market, does the diligence, the due diligence to understand what's going to get that collection to sell out strategically. So the gallery, I have to give credit to Ivy Gallery in that moment, because they were the ones who understood, okay, this is what's going on, this is the way that you've done this, and what's going to work as well is to allow collectors to, if they collect all 7 animations, that they'll have this incentive, which also made a splash on the secondary market sales, which meant that at times
you got to buy all the other ones.
You would see pieces getting sold all at the same time, a month later and stuff. To this day, they're still selling because some people are still trying to collect all 7 so they can get the physical piece. So stuff like this that's more focused on the business side of things and maybe the marketing side of things. You could either learn it yourself if you want to go there and build your own community, or you could have someone like a gallery helping you strategically position your work in that way.
Okay, that's awesome. That's awesome. Now, Dunny, how long did it take you to be able to get these 7 pieces since you achieved them?
I think I was buying them within the week. I got all 7.
Oh, okay. That's awesome, man. That's awesome. And did that add like a sort of a sense of excitement, like kind of like this adrenaline, like, oh man, like I'm gonna grab it from here? You know what I'm saying? Did you wait for the fluctuation of price? Like,
no, I definitely watched the price and tried to get it at a better price. But to me, because I collect real art, not just NFTs, it was an interesting aspect. Not every artist on Nifty, which is the primary place where I buy, is doing that. And to me, it was interesting. But looking at other collectors that only buy NFTs, they don't care about physical art. They're not there for an appreciation of the art.
Gotcha. And these guys aren't flippers, right? Like they're there because they really dedicate to the art and they believe in the space in the digital realm. Or does flipping have an aspect to it?
There's definitely flippers, and there's definitely people that are hardcore. They call it diamond hands, and they don't want to sell anything. They just buy it and put it in a cold storage, and that's it.
That's awesome. Yeah, man. Trust me, diamond hands suck sometimes. If I would have been diamond hands on a particular asset I had there, I would have probably made over 40 grand. But hey, I was paper hands all the way. You know what I'm saying? I got cut down with rocks. But anyways, so another thing that's cool about this, right, is because you guys, I don't know if you guys agree, but what you did right there by gamification it, in a way, it kind of helps with the transition for like other collectors, like collectors that only believe in physical works, to be able to start appreciating the new frontier. Because let's think about it for a second, guys. We have a few kids here in the audience, and basically, they're being brought up in a world that's just completely technological, and not just technological, advanced technology. You get me? So little by little, they grow up in this world, and they'll find more value in the digital than they do the physical. You get me? So in a way, we're making that transition as humans from not only physical art, but really appreciating digital art and digital assets as a whole. So what's everybody's what's your thought on that?
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, my little cousins care more of their Fortnite skins than for toys, stuff like that. And we don't, all of us here are adults. Enrique is a little one over here, but she's almost 6. There we go. But that entire generation is missing from the conversation. So, you know, this is us trying to understand what's going on. For us, for some of us, it's easier to understand. For others, it's not.
Yeah.
But the new generation is growing up with this whole thing, and they don't see the difference. As a matter of fact, sometimes they're going to care more for the digital than the physical.
It's so interesting, right? How we've shifted dynamics as humans, and like how we see values within within the metaverse and within things that aren't there physically, but we can bring them into this world. You get me? So that's why it's the frontier. It's the next frontier.
Yeah, and also as a creative, that line is also starting to blur. The more that I work on Illustrator, the more that I work on Procreate. Sure, I care for certain projects that are either on murals or on paintings, but more and more, the ideas are starting to shape based on the concept, not so much on the limitations of whether it's physical or digital.
Now, who here is an artist, by the way, real quick? Okay, who uses Procreate? Well, all right. So, question: have you started doing this on pieces of paper?
Not yet, but
you'll get there.
Yeah,
you'll get there.
Yeah.
That's right. You can already tell her that's the shift of consciousness right there. But this is exciting, guys. So what's the future? What do you guys see? Like, take us 10 years from now.
Well, it's interesting you say, because there's a foundation called the Joan Mitchell Foundation, and Joan Mitchell's a very famous traditional painter, and they have something called CALL. It's an acronym called Creating a Living Legacy. And so what they do is that they work with older artists in their 60s, 70s, 80s, and they basically go back in time and try to retrace what these artists were doing at the time, find the pieces that were bought by certain people, put context to it, what type of medium was it, what type of canvas were they using. So they're notating all of this, and there's a booklet like this big that they use to work with these artists. And so I went to this talk, I guess 2019, and I listened to the entire thing, and I'm listening to them talk about these older artists going back in time and going to their studio and talking about different things, and basically recording in a ledger in a book and going back in time saying, okay, this one was in 1979 through 1982 or whatever. Like, there's like brackets because they're not even sure. So what's going to happen is that we're not going to need that. We're starting at the genesis here, and we're moving forward. That artist, if she becomes an artist, she's going to have all of this information. She's going to have no issues going back in time and trying to figure out anything. She's going to have everything recorded, and everything's going to be there. So that's just going to be it. You're just going to have a phone, and you're going to be able to tell everything. Anything you've ever done as an artist, you're going to be able to pull it up quickly, which was never done before. So that's the future. And as an artist, it's more about like creating a living legacy, right? Yeah. And having this, like, you can pass down art to your children. Like, there's so much to it that's going to be automated that it's not even nothing right now. It's really crazy. So to me, that's the future. It's this archive. It's creating a living legacy archive.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful.
I gotta say, disruption in general is the future. A blockchain as a whole is a disruptive technology. We're in the time of disruption, with Airbnb, Uber, DoorDash, all of these things that are disrupting the way that the traditional life we've been living for so many years. And I think art galleries, record labels, anything along these lines where the artist has been repressed and taken advantage of and not given a proper platform is going to end up disrupted. And I see that as the future, which, that's why I'm a mass adoption educator, because I want people to join in on the movement and help put, the power back to the people. That's what we're here to do.
And it's amazing because, when it comes to not just the NFT space, because, you have huge dudes that, are heavy investors and whatnot, such as Gary Vee, that believes in NFT technology and sees it as the future. But we also have people that turned a different leaf, like Mark Cuban. Mark Cuban is heavy into NFTs, and he's heavy into cryptocurrency to the point where Dogecoin is now a form of payment to go see the Mavericks play. You know, but go ahead.
I think there's a scale of where it could ultimately land. I think now at this point, the NFT and art are forever linked. They're always going to, in one way or another. At the very least, if it means that when physical art sells, there's going to be a blockchain asset created to track the movement of that art for the rest of its existence, that might be the most basic level of how this continues, but I do think that this new medium won't go away, and artists are going to keep finding ways to build on it and keep creating and coming up with things that we probably can't even think of now.
That's awesome. That's awesome. That's awesome. And what?
Which right now we're Win 317 Gallery has a virtual exhibition of my work, which will be, you know, all the physical. They're all physical pieces, and they're going to be tracked through certificates of authenticity, tracked on the blockchain. So, you know, it's happening already.
That's awesome, guys. And so I want to ask this quick question because, you know, there's always, because, you know, I always get this, right? I always get this thing where people come to me, it's like, oh, but I can just take a picture of it and I can have it displayed. You get me? What do we tell these people? What I tell them, I'm like, yeah, you might have that, but doesn't mean that you own it. It's not.
Yeah, that's like, do you like a fake Prada and
exactly.
Fake Rolls Royce? What do you want? You want this, you know?
You know, it just doesn't make sense. You know what I'm saying? I can go and I can try to trick somebody that I got fake J's, but the people that know a real J is fine.
The concept of an NFT is very abstract, and I don't know if we made it clear enough that the actual art, the picture, is not the NFT. The NFT is the underlying blockchain transaction that points to the picture. So when you think about it that way,
you can't fake the block.
You can't fake the block. So
at the end, and that's the beautiful thing. At the end of the day, you know, once you buy it, you know, it's an asset. It can be tracked. You can see where it's gone. You can't do that with a JPEG. You can't do that with anything. And like, again, this is still the very beginning, and we're gonna see how this progresses. And, you know, imagine when we start doing hologram NFTs. You know, the proof of ownership right there. Oh, really? Oh, wow. That's amazing. That's amazing, guys. Looking Glass. Holograms. NFTs. So, I mean, if you guys have anything else that you guys want to say, well, we can start opening for questions. Yes, sir. You can come over. You can come up here and.
Hi. Thanks for taking the time for all the explanation. I'm curious, really, with you on the investment side. On average, NFTs are down in value about 90% between January and now, on average. The NFT technology as it is today is great for artists and how they can continue to participate in any transactions that take place with their bodies of work. But as an investor, both in, I guess you mentioned flippers earlier. I'm an investor in blockchain. I'm just an investor. I invest in stocks. I invest in everything. To invest in NFTs where there's no limit of supply, and there is a limit of supply in blockchain and in the various cryptocurrencies, there's no limit. You said, I believe you said earlier that an artist can change the photo and change actually what you're purchasing. From an investor point of view, where does your value get protected?
there's definitely a lack of liquidity when you look at each specific artist and their market of NFTs, but at the same time, like we also mentioned, you're investing in the artist and what you think they're going to come up with and how they're going to contribute to the blockchain space as a whole and to crypto art as a whole. So every time you look at the artist and you think of what can their possible contribution be to the space, what is their value proposition to their collectors now and in the future, and really you're investing in people.
And also, remember, 2017, the bubble burst, and where are we now? Bitcoin went from 20 grand to 3, and now we're at what? We're about 60 or above 60? 60. Amazing, amazing. So it comes down to that. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean,
I think from the investor side, I think it's you're investing into the art market. So you have to be you have to understand where the investment is going, and you know, people that invest in Warhols, they buy Warhols for because they've invested into the impact that the Warhol you know, that Warhol has had in culture. So you're investing in people, but yes, you're investing into those people's ideas and the longevity of those ideas.
And I appreciate that. And to your point with Warhol, to your point with Warhol, there's a limited number of original works. They're not being reproduced. They're not being digitized. There's a set amount of works, and that's it. Supply and demand dictates the value of those products. The same with Bitcoin. There's a limited number. There's a fixed amount of Bitcoins. They're not making any more. And there's a limited amount. In NFTs, it's unlimited. When Taco Bell can sell a picture of a taco for $10,000, and it's just a photo of a taco, it's not an artistic thing. I guess a photographer took it, and it can sell for an exorbitant amount of money. Don't buy Taco Bell. No, I understand that, but the fact is that when that becomes an NFT, and you mentioned earlier with celebrities blurring the lines, that dilutes the value of the medium. I don't know. But the photo that Taco Bell is selling as an NFT is not a fake.
So here's the issue: is that there are so many fake Warhols, and I can say this because my friend works for the foundation. Like, there are so many fake Warhols. I mean, so much art is fake out there. All the blue chip, like that shit is, a lot of it's fake. And the real collectors actually have fakes of their real shit that they put up, you know? But with the whole blockchain, he's gonna be able to verify that his Andy Warhol boxing thing is really his. That's where it's at. It's the proof of ownership. You know Salvador Mundi, the $450 million? It hasn't been verified. $450 million, and you know why? Because they can't authenticate it. So it could be a fake Da Vinci, you know, like No, but the Salvador money, it's not verified because there's no provenance, there's no history of ownership. They cannot track that. So that's an issue. I mean, there was a Dali thing here, fakes. They were shut down. Like, it's rampant. I mean, the art market is unregulated, so you're dipping into quicksand. So you do have to understand that, but just like the traditional world, you go to somebody's gallery show and you love them and you buy their piece, and then you go home with it. And most of the traditional art you buy because you love it and you want to live with it. So there are the rich people that are buying to flip, but this is what's happening, is like the proof of ownership is what's happening.
At the end of the day, you know, you have to buy art for art's sake. At the end of the day, you know, art, it can be an investment. Hey, you might have made the greatest investment in your life, but art is bought for art's sake, and for the first time ever, digital artists have a voice and a platform that they can truly call their own, in my opinion. And artists like myself, I feel like I'm just going into the territory, and I'm treading lightly and learning as I go as an artist. And you know, talking about the additions and whatnot, you know, from my experience, because, you know, again, I'm still learning as well. The one-of-one that I sold to my friend Pascal here, you know, it will no longer be chained, and it's only going to be there forever. And like, he is the only one that owns the copy, and it dies with him and wherever else it goes.
There's something called burning tokens, which I think people have to understand, that you can burn a token and take it out of circulation. So he could have bought that piece and burned it, and it would be sent to a non-existent address, and that would be the end of it, and there'd be no resale royalties. So it's wild. It's wild, wild west, and I think people really need to understand that part of it too.
And I just wanted to say something super simple really quickly about that. You're saying there's so many NFTs, but you know, everybody is an artist. Like, probably everybody in this room has put crayon to a piece of paper or painted on a canvas. And so there are so many pieces of art out in the world, and not all are made by real artists. So it goes back to that point that you're really you're buying what you believe in, and that is that. It's the same way you did with Bitcoin. It's the same way you do with Ethereum or any other shit coins that you like to buy. You believe in it. That's why you buy it.
All right, next question.
Yes, sir.
Actually, I have a few of them. So when it comes to creating the NFT, if it's something that you're doing digitally, it's obvious. Photograph, you can do that. It's something like a sculpture or a dance outfit or a painting. For the painting, you can go to get a high-end scan and whatnot. But what do you do for something that's multi-dimensional?
You still can tokenize that 3D object. Anything can be tokenized. And so let's say you're a sculptor and you decide to do your first NFT drop, but you're actually, what they're buying is the physical sculpture. And then it's authenticized on the blockchain so that you know it is that original sculpture. But it can be a physical thing. It doesn't have to just be digital.
Got it. And then what do you do to market it other than traditional marketing and whatnot?
So I went on Clubhouse a lot. So there's different apps or spaces where people as creatives can go into and market. I use my Instagram a lot, so I market it through Instagram, Twitter. Clubhouse has been a huge help because this voice aspect of this app, Clubhouse, allows for rave mode right now. Yeah. So wherever you feel that your community is more like centered, that's where you should promote it, market it. But the main apps that are being used are Twitter and Clubhouse and Discord, right?
So there's a huge community on Discord, which is a gaming platform, and now Microsoft is buying it for $10 billion, so that's another thing. So you can join these Discords. All of the NFT marketplaces have a Discord. So if you go to OpenSea and you scroll down to the bottom, it'll say discord.gg / not this GG, / whatever. They'll put just, their name or whatever. So if you go to any platform, you can join their Discord, you can jump in there, you can talk to the founders, you can talk to the developers, artists, collectors, they're all in there. So that's a little bit advanced, but I would say Clubhouse is awesome. It's really, really, really great. And Twitter is great because you have those clickable links. So when you do your drops, it's really important to put it up there. You tag NFT art, and you create this experience. So you're dropping your art. So if you go into these open platforms that are not curated, you're just basically putting your art on the sidewalk over here and hoping somebody's going to see it. So you need to point people to that link. So if you have an email list, or you can get someone to do a press story on you saying, hey, I'm going to do this, can you guys write about me? But yeah, Twitter is a huge thing. Instagram is good because you can see the style, but the fact that you can't click on things is a little tricky. So you'd have to put it in your profile. So yeah, marketing it's all about your community. And that's, if you have 1,000 fans, you'll never be hungry, is the expression.
One last question, if you don't mind. In terms of deriving value and how much a token costs or whatnot, obviously the gentleman was talking about values dropping, going up and down in the marketplace. How is that sort of determined? I mean, obviously, if you're Warhol, it's going to be more valuable than for me. But, how is that driven in the marketplace?
I think right now it's very closely related to crypto because a lot of the people that came into the space are crypto native, and you would think crypto, as of late, my take on it is crypto went up and people are seeing that the appreciation of crypto right now, it's better to pull your money out of NFTs, go into crypto, and they'll play back and forth like that. But how Nifty Gateway, which is the main platform, derives the original price points, I'm not sure how they do that. I don't know where they get those numbers.
Pricing is really tricky. I've been seeing a lot of well-known artists kind of just jumping in and putting their stuff onto these open platforms, and it's just sitting there. So these are famous designers, people that have worked for Kid Robot. I mean, huge people, and they're just sitting on these open markets, just sitting there. So same thing, they have to point their of these people are starting with, if I'm gonna put my first Genesis, which is your first NFT, I would approach it in a more communal way, that I would wanna have something as an addition of 10 and have it as a lower price point. And that way I can kind of grow my collector base at a lower price point. And then the royalties will kick in eventually, because that can just go from, you know, 0.01 to all of a sudden a 10.0, like in the resale. So what you're starting at is very important. So you want to like be conscious of that. And if that's my advice, this is not business advice, whatever, but that's what I would say. And that's what I see a lot of these art. Hello. You've been talking this whole time about Scott. So you want to get these communities, you want to get in Twitter, you want to do all that, but the pricing, yeah, you want to get your community involved. So you want to have stuff that's out there that's accessible. And especially if your collectors are non-crypto native, they do not understand. It's really difficult. So if you have something that's maybe $100, they'd be like, oh, that sounds okay, because everyone thinks I need to buy one Bitcoin at $60,000. They don't realize they can buy $100 worth of it. So there's an education aspect to it too with your non-crypto collectors, if that makes sense.
Awesome. So next question here.
Well, thank you so much for all organizers of the event in the heart of the art district and real artists organizing the event. I just wanted to ask general question on the panel. Which platform do you guys prefer the most, or if you have experienced the multiple platforms, perhaps Gigi, you know, how do you experience with which ones do you? Which one do you think is?
If you get closer, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
Which one do you think?
Ooh.
It's better.
Just yell.
The question is which gateway will they? Which one do you think?
So I've only had I've only released a drop.
And also I wanted to make an invitation here for everybody that's participating to go to wallet.beatbasel.miami, which is our native Winwood for Winwood artists wallet. It's not a cryptocurrency wallet, it's a wallet where you can mint your own NFTs, and we'll love to know which platforms are you guys using, because we do have the technology platforms here native in Miami, and we celebrate that we can empower artists like you guys in the panel. Thank you so much.
I've only released projects through Nifty Gateway, and working with them is pretty easily, because they take care of all the setup for, you know, you literally just give them the art and then they take care of everything. They also take 20% from the sales. So, you know, but that's just my experience.
Okay, so also there's Super Rare. So Super Rare uses a ERC 721 token, which means it's only a one of one. So if you go into Super Rare, the platform, it's only one of ones that you see. If you go onto something like OpenSea, they have two different types of tokens. So you can have the ERC 721, which is the one of one, and then you can have the 1155, which is multiples. So you can have additions, you can bundle, you can do lots of things. So, and there's also other protocols coming along that are doing other things too. So the platforms are all different. So there's not that there's one is better than the other. And I see a lot of like well-known artists starting on OpenSea, because one of them, you have to submit a video. It's a 1-minute video. And somebody on Clubhouse yesterday, who's a well-known designer for Kid Robot, was like, I'm not making a video, like, forget it. So he didn't get on that platform, Nifty or whatever, because he had to do a video, and he said, I'm not comfortable being on camera. And I thought, okay, well, the guys that do all these platforms are all tech guys, so that was a very techie thing to do, was like do the video to apply. So that's hindrance. So people just start on the open platform. So OpenSea is a really great platform to just start out on. And just do your research, and they have videos on their website on how to mint and the different things that are going on. You have something called unlockable content. So I can have a photo up, and the unlockable content, is it animated? It's moving. So that means that when you buy it, you're not just right-clicking, saving to your desktop. Now you're getting an unlockable content that's specialized, and now you can have this animated GIF or something, you know? So there's so many opportunities and options for creatives.
That's awesome. Well, next question.
Hello. So we talked about a little bit about there's just no barriers to entry in NFTs, they're very limited. Do you fear that, you know, the 4 mega art galleries, the Gagosians, the Warners of the world are going to swoop in and kind of provide some stamp of validity so you don't end up with the taco here or there and drive up pricing?
Well, I can talk from experience from Christie's, because I actually did a workshop with them 2019. So Christie's has been very involved. Christie's is an auction house. They've been around for 100 years. They've been very, very interested in blockchain, and they actually gave 300 NFTs to people in like 2018, and like only 10 people redeemed them, so it's really funny. They had a piece that they released last year as an NFT. So Christie's is already like out there doing stuff, and a lot of the auction houses and the galleries are using blockchain technology already. So it's not out of the norm, but what they've been using is something that's been built on the Bitcoin blockchain. So it's a different type of certificate of authenticity. And then now there's a whole shift into the whole Ethereum. So it's gonna be different. I mean, all the galleries are gonna get involved. Damien Hirst just released 10,000 NFTs because whatever, Damien Hirst. And he is involved with a platform, I think, called Palm, like Palm Tree. So he's not only creating art, but now he's involved with the platform that's gonna be minting the art. So.
Awesome.
There's also like new players coming into the space that are able to merge what's happening now and understand what the crypto collectors want and what's happening in the market, and understand the traditional side as well. And you know, those people that are able to merge those two will succeed. And yeah, but all that is happening, and there's also new platforms coming up that are panning out to be like grown-up versions of what we have right now, or you know, just different stuff.
Awesome, awesome. So next question.
Hi guys. So I think one of the coolest things about NFTs is like royalties, right? The ability to get perpetually paid out on art that you create forever. Can you explain like a little bit more about how that works on maybe your favorite platform?
With NFT Gateway, it's a 10% royalty that you get every time on a secondary sale. Go ahead.
But you can't take it off NFT Gateway, otherwise you're not going to get those royalties anymore?
Correct. So there's still hurdles that the different platforms have. It's the same thing for, yeah. I think Norberto was explaining this. We're still like in the dial-up version of this whole thing. So
don't worry, that will be fixed very soon. There's other cool platforms coming out. I'll let you know.
Right. So
Katie will let you know actually, and Kerry.
Sounds like you know what's happening.
I don't know.
Certain platforms you can set your royalties, so you can actually set it at 100%. So if somebody resold it, you would get 100%. So I don't know if somebody would want to sell it. I mean, it just depends, you know, there's so many options. 10% seems to be the standard across all the platforms. I think Mintable is a platform that you can mint for free, and I think that that's 5%. I'm not really sure, but yeah, it varies. It varies, and you can also set your own, and yeah.
The basic technology of that is using a smart contract. And the smart contract is basically if this, then this. And that's done all via the blockchain. So that's how those royalties are being paid out, using technology of blockchain.
Have you taken out any of your pieces from Nifty into another platform? Have you done any of that stuff yourself?
Yeah,
Yeah, so if I want, I can withdraw from my Nifty account, put it on Cold Store, which is my crypto wallet, and then OpenSea actually encompasses pretty much every NFT that exists. So the NFTs that are in my Nifty account show up on OpenSea, and if I were to sell Gabriel's NFT, for example, on OpenSea, I would still get a royalty on it. It's written into the contract.
So, does anybody have any more questions? Yes. Last one. All right, last question.
Hi, I was wondering whether you see as much of a potential in this space for music, and how would musicians go about approaching the space and getting into it the same way?
So I don't know about music specifically, but when I think about blockchain as a whole, I think about a platform like a Facebook or Instagram where to you as the user it's free, but essentially it's really not because they're selling your data. I think with this whole concept, you're taking back your data and you're the one selling it, and you can do with it as you please. And as it relates to music, if we start moving away from the streaming platforms and you can collect royalties that aren't necessarily some sort of small dividend because you don't get enough streams or whatever, you're empowering yourself as a musician.
Are there platforms that are doing that pay-per-stream kind of thing? Fractions of a crypto?
I'll respond on the first question. There's also the monster of the music industry, which are the labels and like all these contracts that the artists are signed to. It's right now I'm doing or working on a collaboration with a musician, and it was about a month of trying to like see which artist was going to be the right one, because the contracts with the labels and everyone involved, and like it's the publisher, the lawyer, the manager, so I think that idea of all these people that are getting involved in your craft will fade away with the change of the technology of the NFTs. So I think that's really the main issue, because musicians have been like wired to think in a weird way that they need these people, and I don't think that's the case. They're going to need some of that help, but compared to what it is right now, it's just crazy.
Quick, like if you want to do a little research, Imogen Heap is like big in the blockchain space. She's been a mover and shaker for a very long time. And recently an interesting drop that was done, what is the name? Roque. But he dropped a mixtape, and people that bought his NFT actually got a physical mixtape. So there's many ways that you can do that.
So the platforms that are out there, one is called Audius, A-U-D-I-U-S, I think. So that's Audius. Another one is Euler Beats, that's E-U-L-E-R, Euler Beats. And then the one that was the Kings of Leon, which was the Chainsmoker guys, it's either Yellowheart. Yellowheart. So that's another company, so Yellowheart.
Thank you so much.
It's all possible. Anything can be an NFT.
Definitely,
No limitations.
The beautiful thing about music is, we can go back a few years ago when the Wu-Tang Clan basically saw music as lost its value, right? With the amount of content that was coming out, it was just so overwhelming. So what did they do? They did Once Upon a Time in Shaolin, which was captured in Morocco, and basically it was auctioned off, and it sold. How much did it sell? Over $1 million, right? It sold for over $1 million. Martin Scorsese, he had possession of it. We all know his problems, and then the government seized it, and now that piece is locked away, gone forever. Nobody will probably ever listen to it except the guards that are probably there.
Or they burned the token. You never know.
Or they burned it. Yeah.
Here's another tidbit. I know that a lot of people love talking about this, but the Take Banana was actually like an analog NFT because it came with a certificate of authenticity and instructions.
Boom.
On how to put another banana from a store and the duct tape on. So the museum that bought it actually had to they got paperwork for it, and then that's it. So that was like an analog NFT kind of idea. And I'm sure you can talk about your dude.
I mean, programmable art has existed for years. Solar Wit, it's one of those people that he created like packs of instructions, so these pieces would get developed again and again in the future. So, like Kerry said it earlier, these are just more advanced tools that we have now. But the art, the concepts, the ideas have been there. Yeah.
Perfect, perfect. Well, guys, it seems we've reached our end. I want to say thank you very much to everybody. We're still going to be here till about, I believe, 9:30. I believe 9:30, correct? Yeah, we're going to be here for like another hour, please. Have some drinks, network. You can talk to the individuals up here. You know, network amongst yourself. And remember, everybody's here because we believe in the future, because we're interested in what makes humanity great, and we're here to see it grow and expand and to pass it on to future generations.
And I'll remind you, you're still an early adopter, so don't think you're too late to the game. You are not too late. You are very early to the game.
If there's one thing I know for a fact is, yes, there is all types of horrible things in the world, but what I do know is there's a lot of good, and there's people with vision, and with science and art, we can make things happen. And this time, we've reached that point.